Hello friends, greetings to all of you. Welcome to my channel MJS Knowledge Hub. We are doing the revision sessions for ISCA CF Final Old Syllabus paper number 6, and we have completed successfully chapter 2, 5 and 3, and now we are in chapter number 4. In chapter number 4 also we have seen what is meant by business contingency, what is meant by business continuity management policy, and what does the business continuity plan focus on. We have seen business continuity plan definition also, and then now we are going to see how the plan is going to be developed. Okay, so just once have a small revision of this developing a business continuity plan, because the plan once it is being developed, it has some objectives. Let us say it has some important parts for which the plan is being developed. So what does this plan focus on? What does it emphasize on? It emphasizes that the providing management with a comprehensive understanding of the total efforts required to develop and maintain the system. Develop and maintain the plan. Then obtaining commitment from the top management for the support and participation. Then defining recovery requirement from the business function perspective. Then documenting the impact of an extended loss to the operation caused by the business disruption. Then selecting the team so that there is a proper balance for the plan development. Then focusing appropriately on the disaster prevention, impact minimization and orderly recovery of the data after disruption. Then developing the business continuity plan that is understandable and easy to use and maintain, and defining how business continuity consideration must be integrated with the business ongoing business plan. So this is what the plan focuses on. So business continuity planning will be focusing on these areas. So how is the plan being developed? The plan is developed in totally 8 phases. First thing is pre-planning activity. Second is vulnerability assessment and general definition of requirement. Third is business impact analysis. Fourth is detailed definition of requirement. Fifth is plan development. Sixth is plan testing. Seventh program maintenance, and eighth initial plan testing and plan implementation. So let us see briefly what these stages are. First thing is pre-planning activity. Pre-planning activity, here it says that it is done to understand the existing and the projected computing environment. Here you are trying to understand the current environment and in future what type of environment it may be. So you are trying to understand the environment of the organization. And then what does this stage help us to do? It helps us to define the scope of the project, develop project schedules, and identify and address the issues. So depending upon our understanding of the existing environment of the organization, we can define the scope of the project, we can define the project schedules, and we can identify and address several issues which may cause a disaster to the organization. And what are the key deliverables in this phase? First thing is the policies being developed to support the recovery program. So we are developing different kinds of policies to support the recovery program in the case of a disaster. And then an awareness program is done to the management and to the senior individuals who will participate in the project. Means with any policy which is being developed, it will be developed by the senior members being a part of the development process. So they will be explained and an awareness will be brought to them regarding what type of recovery plan we are being completing and what type of environment they're operating into. So this happens in the pre-planning activity. Second come vulnerability assessment and general definition of requirement. In simple words, we can understand that this is assessment of those areas where possibility of weakness is there and where there is a possibility of occurrence of a disaster. And general definition of requirement means generally what you want to have in the plan. So what are the other what are the activities which are taken in this stage of vulnerability assessment and general definition of requirement are: first thing is that there is a thorough security assessment of computing and communication environment. First, we will see how we'll see the security assessment, so how strong the security levels are. Security levels means the control or even the physical security or the logical security, how much depth is security available for the computing and communication environment. Then security assessment will enable the project team to improve any existing emergency plan. Once you understand the security purposes, how the security is being provided to these and to the given environment, you will, and if there already a plan exists for recovery purpose, you will update, you can find the developments required and update the plan accordingly. Then present findings and recommendations resulting from the activity of security assessment to the steering committee. So what we will do after doing the security assessment, we will make a document and then give our findings to the steering committee so that they can take a a conscious action. Then we will do this assessment will help us to identify the scope, because without a proper scope we can't provide the service, right? Then analyze, recommend and purchase recovery planning and maintenance software required to support to the development of the plan. Once you understand the security assessment and you give a findings to the steering committee, you will also analyze and recommend what are the different kinds of software required for required to be purchased in order to support the development plans and recovery plan. And then you will develop a plan framework. Do you remember in the last video we have talked about business contingency plan and business continuity management framework? If you have not, I request you to kindly go back to the channel and you will find the video before it, and also the link is given in the description box for the part 1 of chapter 4. Once go through it, you will find it very useful. And if you are new to my channel, kindly subscribe to my channel and please hit a bell icon, and also kindly motivate me with your thumbs up, which makes me to do more videos on ISCA, and enjoy these revision sessions and combine it with a practice manual. For this PDF also, a link is given in the description box. You can get this PDF on a very nominal price, and this PDF covers chapter number 4 in just 19 pages. Okay. Let's come back. So what does the vulnerability assessment and general definition of requirement do? It will do a thorough security assessment of the computing and communication environment, and it will enable the project team to improve any existing emergency plan and disaster recovery program. It will present the find to steering committee so that they can take an action, and defining the scope of planning effort, analyze and recommend and purchase the recovery planning and maintenance software required to support the development plan, develop a plan framework and assemble the project team and conduct awareness session, because it's very important to make the people aware of what will happen if this policy is not being implemented, or if business continuity plans are not being formulated. What is the disaster and what will be the impact of the disaster on the organization is required to be communicated to the project team and other people in the organization. Okay, what is the third stage? Third stage is about business impact assessment. So how the business in the name itself says that the impact assessment on the business. So how it will be helpful for us? We will identify critical systems. Then we will assess the economic impact of the incident on these critical systems, and what will happen if there is a denial of service to these systems. How will it affect the organization? And then we'll assess the pain threshold, means the length of time the business unit can survive without the access to these systems. So we'll see the impact of the disaster economically and also as per the surviving capacity of the system without being access to these critical activities. The BIA, Business Impact Assessment Report, is presented to the steering committee. So what all assessment we do, everything will go into steering committee. Who is the steering committee? They are the part of the management and they consist of senior people of the board, and also the heads of the various departments. They form together a steering committee to see how the IT process is being implemented in an organization. So this BIA report is submitted to the steering committee. The BIA report should be used for identifying the systems and resources required to support the critical services by providing information processing and other services and facility. So this report will tell them and will make them understand that what systems and resources are required to support the critical functions in the event of disaster. Then comes detailed definition of requirement. First, in second stage, we have seen the general definition. Basically, we'll be saying this is what is needed. But again, here we'll be saying the detailed definition of requirement. In the detailed definition of requirement, a profile of recovery is developed. Means what kind of recovery is required, what are the different recovery profiles we need. It will be developed. Then the profile is developed by identifying the resources required to support the critical operation and also the information hardware and software. See, in the business continuity plan, our first focus is to safeguard the critical activity, so that the critical activity won't be disrupted during the period of disruption and the entire activity can be regained in a short span of time. So this is the objective of BCP, right? So the profile which you are developing, that these all requirements are required to be done. This profile can be developed by identifying the resources used to support the critical function and include hardware and software. So this profile will help us in understanding what are the critical activities and functions and what are the different parts we require to secure the activity. Then key deliverable of this phase is definition of the plan scope, objective and assumption. Since now we have an overview of the environment, we know where are the weakness available, we know what are the alternate facilities that can be done. So now this phase, detailed definition of requirement, will help us in drawing scope for the project, and then it will specify what are the objectives to be achieved and what assumptions they are taking, so that they can develop the plan. Then comes plan development. Now, since the scope has been defined, we'll go to plan development. What is the plan development? Recovery plan components are defined and planned and documented. This phase includes implementation of those which have all been decided in the detailed definition requirement phase, and also includes user procedure, updating the existing standards, and also implementing the changes which have been found in the detailed definition of requirement. The recovery standards are also developed during this phase. Okay. Then comes testing of the problem. Once you have developed the plan, you are going to test the plan, and alternate strategies will also be incorporated while testing the plan. Testing strategies are tailored to the environment so that they can be selected and they should be an ongoing testing facility for the programs. Then comes maintenance, because now you have tested the program and program is working well, you implement it. But then you need to maintain the program so that the future new threats can be stopped and protection can be given. So maintenance program is critical for the actual recovery. So unless you have a maintenance program, you can't recover the information which has been lost in the disaster. The plan must reflect changes to the environment that are supported by the plan. Then it is critical that the change management process are revised to take care recovery plan maintenance into account. So when there is a change what we need to focus is that when there is a change in the management processes, we need to even take care that the recovery plan also is maintained as per the requirement. And if there is no change in the management, then the management procedure will recommend and implement the existing plan itself. Therefore, maintenance program plays an important role to identify the critical area of the plan, then reflect the changes which happens in the environment into the plan, and then if they change in the management process, then the recovery plan must also be changed accordingly to take that management content into account. Then the last phase will come initial plan testing and plan implementation. Now you have designed the plan, then you have tested the plan, you have maintained the plan, and one of the last phases is initial test planning and plan implementation. Here the initial tests are conducted to find any required necessary modification to be done based upon the analysis of test result. Depending upon the result what you got in testing phase, you are going to do necessary modification for the plan. Specific activities of this plan include the following. What does this initial plan testing plan will what are the activities involved in this stage? First, in defining test purpose. So why you are doing this test? Identify test team who are involved in the test, structuring the test, how the test should go, conducting the test, do the test, then analyze the test results, see what are the output coming, and modify the plans as appropriate. So if any change is required, do changes as required by the test result. Then as the recovery stages are defined, specific testing procedures should be developed to ensure that the written plans are documented and written plans are comprehensive and accurate. Since we are focusing particularly on one particular matter, the documentation must be the testing must be in the written format in the documenting, and it should be comprehensive and accurate. So these are the 8 stages of the 8 stages for development of business continuity plan. What are the 8 stages? Pre-planning activity, vulnerability assessment and general definition of requirement, business impact analysis, detailed definition of requirement, plan development, testing program, maintenance program, initial plan testing and plan implementation. Okay. So friends, we have understood that there should be a business continuity management process in an enterprise which will be leading to development of a policy, and based upon the policy, adhering to the policy, we develop a business continuity management plan. So but what is this business continuity management process? What does it contain? So because that is the basic framework for development of the plan, right? So what does it contain? It contains information collection, BCM strategies, development and implementation, testing and maintenance, and BCM training. So what happens in these phases? First thing is information collection. Here all the required information that the enterprise has must be prioritized, and the information about the organization, various products and services are then categorized and prioritized as per what is required, what must be delivered, and depending upon this this information requirement, we will be selecting the business continuity management strategies. In the next stage of BCM strategy, there will be several alternatives which must be analyzed to select the best alternative, so that the framework will be acceptable, and the strategy should be in such a way that it will provide appropriate response during, before or after the incident happens. Then comes development development and implementation. In the development here, the development of the proper framework is being discussed, and also the incident management plan, how it should be carried on. The structure is given here, and it is used for the business recovery and resumption planning. Then comes testing and maintenance. The plan which has been selected, the strategy which has been selected and implemented must be maintained and must be kept for maintenance, and such that the system is always, or you can say the process is always updated, complete, and accurate. Then comes BCM training. Training must be sufficiently given to the users of the policy, so that they understand which part of the enterprise needs such kind of policies, and all the stakeholders, management, and users are involved in this training process, so that they can be efficient and reduce the impact of the disaster and help in recovery, or help the business to recover in a very short span of time. So these are the brief view about the stages in BCM process. Now let us see each stage in a brief manner, so that all these six, like BCM process, information collection, BCM strategy, development and implementation, testing and maintenance, and BCM training, all these six things can be understood in a very brief manner. Let us go into that now. So friends, the first step in the we need to understand is about the business continuity management process. What is the process has two parts: organization structure and implementing business continuity. So this process is the one which has enabled the development of the plan and policy, right? So it has two structures. One is organization structure. The organization should nominate a person, means they must select a person or a team with appropriate level of seniority and experience and authority to be accountable for the BCM policy development and implementation, and also its maintenance. So the organization must form a committee or form a group, or allot this responsibility for the BCM policy development, implementation, and maintenance to any senior person or senior authority. It should be clearly defined the person who is responsible for its maintenance of business continuity within the enterprise. So the delegation of authority is required here. Second comes implementing business continuity. So the top management is appointing a manager or a person known as the BCM manager, and his role is to be responsible for the BCM policy and implementation. So the how it is being implemented, what are the documents being selected for implementation, and other aspects of the implementation process, it should be communicated to all the stakeholders with appropriate training and testing. So these are two parts in the business continuity management. And then comes in the implementation part, what are the major activities, because now the business continuity management manager or the appropriate head who has been appointed to take care of this activity will do certain activities, right? Without doing anything, you can't perform the work there. So what are the activities carried on by the implementation phase? First thing is defining scope and context. Depending upon the information that we will be gathering in the next stage, we will define the scope and context. Then defining a role and responsibility, engaging and involving all the stakeholders, maintaining the currency and appropriateness of business continuity program. It means maintaining the currency and appropriateness of the business continuity program, means your program development must be intact with what's happening in the external environment. It must be in sync with what's happening with the system when it is in the real world, and what kind of development you are doing now to the system. Both must be in sync. Then testing of the program on regular basis. Then managing the cost and benefits associated with such implementation. Then reviewing, reworking, and updating the business continuity capability, risk assessment, and business impact analysis. This manager must continuously review and rework and update the business continuity capability. Means how much the capacity does the organization has in terms of continuity for the business in the event of disruption. Then risk assessment. He must continuously evaluate the risk which faced by the enterprise, and he must also evaluate and conduct the business impact analysis on frequent basis. Then comes convert the policy and strategies into action. So in implementation phase, these points you need to remember. Then comes documentation record, because why this is needed for documentation records is now the manager responsible for the implementation and maintenance, right? So while you're implementing it, what the manager is doing or what the team is doing for implementation, everything must be documented. Therefore, what are the types of documents and records which should be maintained, or which should be which shows the control and record process of the policy development are there few documents which must be remembered. First thing is business continuity policy. What is the policy based upon which this the development of the plan is being taken place? Then business continuity management system. What is the system all about? Then business impact analysis report. Then risk assessment report. What are the various risks faced by the enterprise, and what are the risks the system the plan is trying to stop them. Then risk assessment report, then aims and objective of each function. Each function which has been specified for doing in the assessment policy or in the plan, what is the need or aim of that function. Then the business continuity strategies, what are different strategies to be taken. Then business continuity plan, what are developed, are they in accordance with the requirement or not. Overall and specific incident management plan, if this happen, what must be done. Then change control, prevention action, corrective action, document control and record control. In this implementation phase and maintenance phase, a lot of controls must be seen and checked by the BCM manager, because any change in control will lead to any kind of disaster. Therefore, change control, preventive action, corrective action, document control and record control process. Then exercising schedules and result. He must exercise the test schedules and see what are the results. Then local authority risk register, incident log. If anything happens, at what time it happened, how it, what damage did it do, what is the basic understanding of how the damage incurred, etc. And then last is training program. So document must include the details regarding the policy, the management system, BIA report, risk assessment, aim of each function, activities of each function, business continuity strategy, overall and specific incident management plan, business continuity plan, change control and record control process, local authority risk register, incident log, exercise schedule and result, exercise schedule and results of the plan, and then incident log and training program. So these are all the documents. This is it is not a comprehensive list, it can even include other documents also. So these are documents which must be in the file regarding business continuity management process, so that the BCM manager can go through it and provide as a working paper for him. So in the next video we will be seeing the other stages, like BCM strategy, which has a business impact analysis in it, and development and implementation of the policy, development and implementation of the policy, and then we'll be having testing and maintenance, and finally we'll be seeing what is meant by BCM training. So I hope you like this video, and I hope the speed is also good. So request you to kindly share this video to your friends and provide me a thumbs up, so that it will really motivate me and make me happy that my efforts are being helpful to you. So until then, keep studying and keep smiling.